shit down myself. And I'm like, I'm in the bushes like this now. I'm stooping down in the bush like this. And I'm looking from side to side.
Yo, yeah. I woke up with ice on, feeling excellent. Tell them put a C on my jersey and my Letterman. I pay rack K's for the tennis shoes, I'm stepping in. I know the ops mad, I'm getting money and I'm flexing.
There's some shot glasses on the table. If you don't feel like answering the question,
you have to take a shot?
You have to take a shot.
What if I want a sip of wine instead?
You better gulp that whole. These are easy questions. This is light work. Have you ever been with somebody knowing it's not gonna work out, but they play a very beneficial role in your life at the time, so you stick around until that role is finished, and then you abandon them?
Have you ever used somebody? Question?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was about to say, it sounds like you're using them. Yeah.
Go ahead, Nick.
You can answer.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, this is when I was coming out of the closet. I was homeless at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to feed myself. There was this guy that I met on Tinder.
Mm-hmm.
He took me out on a date. I don't remember what we had, but he fed me. He fed me probably 3-4 times a week, and I was going through a hard time at the time. So I think that's the.
So you didn't see yourself. You wasn't attracted to him in the sense of you knew it was gonna go somewhere. You knew it wasn't gonna go anywhere, but you stuck around because it was beneficial to you at the time.
Yes.
Okay. What's that guy's name?
Fake name.
Huh?
I can't say.
You willing to take a shot? Let's take this.
No, she answered the question. She answered the damn question, bitch. I swear.
Who else? Want to speak on it?
You want
Want to say something?
Like,
yes.
you know, but a lot of it too is just growing up and, you know, the first time that someone makes you feel attractive or whatever, you're using them to fill up your own cup the same way that they're using you to fill up their own, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Half full or half empty?
Empty, for sure.
At the time?
Always.
How are you feeling now?
Fine.
Full or empty?
You're
Cannot
full, girl.
answer.
If not, we'll get you there. We'll get you there.
Cannot
We'll
answer.
get you there.
But yeah, you know, that's how I would specify.
Bree, I know you have something to
Ah,
say.
I don't have anything to say. I would never do that to somebody, ever. Even when I was younger, like, morals have been a big thing in my family. Grew up in a Christian family. Just would never use somebody with an ulterior motive. I think honesty is key. And like, also, I think I've been in the position where I have been the person who has been the beneficiary for the other party. I think I've definitely been in those positions with friendships and with relationships. Like, it's just been an issue because I give more than I receive sometimes, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because no matter what, you know, no matter how much you give to people, if you yourself are in a place where you're always, you know, no matter how many people come in your life, come and go, and you're always going to be here, then there's really nothing that's an issue. If you're always just going to keep it 100%, like, not saying that I've never done anything bad in my life, but like, I don't think that being in a relationship with someone for your own benefit makes you...
What about family relationships?
Family relationships, I think,
how are they for you?
But like, I've had a very good relationship with my family, I think, but like, maybe individually I've had like some issues with some of them every now and then, but it's never been like I hate you, get out of my life, I never want to see you again.
What about you? Has it ever been a I hate you, get out of my life situation with your family?
I feel like lots of people have those situations.
It's just a like yes or no.
Maybe
They're
like,
like,
anger.
Like, yeah. You know, being a teenage girl, you hate your mom for certain periods of time.
Yeah.
Why is this always a thing? Why is girls...
Don't worry about it.
Because
You
we don't
literally
want to
could
be
never
the
understand.
exact reflection of them, and
Yeah.
then you grow up being them anyway.
Okay,
you know?
so what about
I
when...
refuse.
And from my own personal experience, I was seeing a guy,
it wasn't working out. When we started seeing each other, in my mind, I was like, oh, it's just summertime. You know, we'll hang out, we'll whatever. And then it turned into something more for him, but it wasn't for me, right? But I was honest with him.
What do you mean?
Well, he wanted to date me, and I wasn't interested like that, you know? Like, we'd been friends for a long time. We had our summer fling, we'll call it, but I wasn't interested in carrying the relationship further. But I told him that. I was completely honest with him about it, and he chose to stick around and kind of carry on how things had been. And I was just like, all right, you know, like, that is what it is, I guess. I was completely honest with you, and you still just want to hang out and whatever, like, it's all good and whatnot. And I didn't push him away because I didn't feel
Why didn't you push him away? Like, what was scaring you from that?
Because we'd been friends. We'd been friends for like 4 years, and I was like, oh, like, if I push him away, we're not going to be friends anymore. And I was honestly worried about losing my friend.
And how?
More than anything.
What was the point of you guys became friends?
The point that we became friends?
Yeah.
We were friends in high school. And we'd just been friends. Like, we had the same friend group. We hung out all the time.
So that gives him like an excuse?
An excuse for what?
I don't know, just to... Whatever you're just talking about.
No, I'm not saying
it.
it's an excuse. I didn't want to lose this person who had been my friend for years. So I was like, you know what? It's fine. Like, I wasn't trying to date anybody in particular or whatever. So I was like...
wait, hold on, wait. Why are you giving him that look? Why are you giving Sass that look?
Because me and Sass have been through a lot, dude. A lot. And hearing your story, me and this man have been through I don't even want to get into it, dude.
Like,
but like, I can relate to your
Welcome to
story.
Thompson, Manitoba. We have the second highest crime per capita in all of Canada. 5 years running, we won it number 1.
Why is that a
Thompson, Manitoba. Swear.
That's kind of sad.
I'm not. That is sad.
That's kind of sad.
I'm not.
Crazy.
So you're from Manitoba also?
Unfortunately. Yes.
Well, I do love being home though. You know, snowmobile riding.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah.
Not to cut your cross. I'm gonna say something, and I know a lot of Canadians who saying this, who hear this, I'm gonna get a lot of flack for saying this. But where I came from, when I hear people, you see, even thinking about it, it's funny. When I hear people talk about the ghettos in Canada, it's funny to me because like Canada is a wonderful place. It's like okay, obviously it has crime and shit, right? But like I've seen things that I'm like that
What have you seen?
I should be traumatized of, but it's normal now. It's like
We're like the
first
fucking
time
terror Disneyland.
no deadass.
dude.
I can't even make this up. The first time I came to Canada,
Deadass.
I hear people.
What is the one thing that
Hold
you've
on.
seen?
I'm gonna tell you.
Okay.
When I first came to Canada, and I was in Toronto, people was like, bro, you Jane and Finch, bro, like you don't want to go down to Jane. And I went down there. I remember going to Jane and Finch, and I was like, oh, this is nice. This is nice. It's like when you come from an environment where you're seeing people getting chopped up in front of you. Like, it's easy to shoot somebody and run away, right? Like, oh, drive by, you shoot somebody and you... Like, where I'm from, people get chopped up. You see their limbs on the ground and it's regular, it's normal. I remember one day my mom was screaming, oh my God, they're killing him. And I remember being like 8 years old, waking up, looking through the window. I'm like, oh, he's just getting chopped, and I went back to sleep. But it's like it's normal. But like that's if you Google like right now, there's certain Caribbean countries where crime is like it's crazy. So I would go people like I was walking with a girl down Pandora, and she was like, you know, if you wasn't with me, I wouldn't be walking down here. And I was like, what? This is safe. Yes, there are people in tents and shit. But like, when have you ever heard in Victoria, woman found headless? You go on the newspaper right now in Trinidad, you would see woman found with no legs and no head. It's always like crazy shit, right? So when I hear people talk about like the ghettos in Canada and stuff, it's funny to me. I'm not taking away from anybody's experience. To me, my experience, I feel like Canada is a nice place. It's safe.
I mean, just going back to it, because you've been to that part of an island where it's normal. And then it's also the news that also puts that perception on, like, certain places in the world. Like, for example, my grandma and my dad, they're from Haiti.
Yeah.
So every time you go on the news about Haiti, it's always Port-au-Prince, gang violence, drugs, rape, and then all this, footage about just buildings being on fire, and then how like nobody's doing anything. Even the own president, he got assassinated, and then just couldn't do anything. So it's the perception that the news would like to put on, saying first world countries. You would expect that once you go there, you'd be living like any other typical person. Got a nice house, go to school. If you get married, have kids, got a mortgage and all that stuff. But it's always thinking like those who live in smaller third world countries, they can never get that. And it's always just violence and drugs and abuse.
Yeah, and basically the takeaway from this is everybody's experience is relative. Like, you might have experienced something that might have been traumatizing to you, and there's people who might have crazy experiences that might look at your situation and be like, oh, I would take that. But I'm not judging anybody for their experience. Me personally, what I've experienced, it just comes across very humorous to me when I hear people say like, oh, like, this part of, like, it's bad, like, don't go into this area.
You don't have fucking Tim Hortons coffee, buddy, I'll fuck you up.
I'm sorry, we started talking about, have you ever dated somebody and taken advantage of them? Now we're talking about, like, we're talking about, like, some deep shit. We're like, let's get political.
Alright, the next one I have for you all is, I would like everybody here, and if you don't have anything to say, you have to take a shot. I feel like nobody has taken a shot as yet, so let me see if we can keep the streak going. I want each one of us, including myself, I'll try and pick something out of the archives. I want each one of us to share something that you've never told anybody.
What? That's so difficult. What? Okay.
I'm an open book.
I got it.
You have something?
No, I'll think about it. There's something.
Yeah, start over there. I feel like Sass has some things.
Yeah, I need to...
Tell us. Listen, Mr. Sunglasses.
I need to open the vault. The vault is being cracked right now.
Okay.
I know something of you.
I'm going to give you guys a story that only a few people know, but I've never told anybody. So...
He's going to tell the world right now.
I'm going to tell the world right now. I went to a high school in Trinidad called St. Madeline's Secondary School. At the time when I was going to school, there was this massive cane field, like sugar cane, huge, like miles and miles of cane. But when you leave primary school and you go into secondary school, being in Form 1, which is you guys grade 9, because they took your 13 away, so that would be your grade 9. In that school at the time, there was a thing called initiation, right? And people would literally have, the old school cable wires that had the one copper, like, pointy thing, and then you would screw it into the back of your TV. Mm-hmm. Everybody had one of that. All the people who were in like, they were in Form 3, and that would be you guys equivalent of grade 11. So they were in grade 11, and they used to have those, and they used to whip you. I'm not gonna fucking lie. One day I'm coming out to the school and I'm like, yo, nobody's fucking with me today, yo. And I'm seeing these guys, But they're smart. The way how they do it very, very, like, they orchestrate it in a way where you're gonna get hit. I was like, yo, they ain't fucking
I'm
with me.
sorry. I'm laughing. It's
But I'm
not,
gonna tell you.
It's not funny.
I'm walking out to school because St. Madeleine Secondary School is bordering with a town called Pleasantville. And the cane field separated those towns. And one day, like everybody now is like, I'm seeing people walking out of school and I'm looking at my surroundings to see, well, who's gonna like, try and jump us. I'm seeing this guy wrapping up the cable and I'm like, yo, who is he coming for? And then I look behind me and I'm seeing like 6 guys. They're opening up their backpacks and they're pulling out all these cables, right? They caught one guy and they beat him. And then I'm walking. I have this huge book bag on my back because it's the first form and you basically don't know your classes as yet. So you carry to school all your books because you don't know which class you're going to be in. And I see them point at me in the distance. And I was like, see them running towards me, like speed. I'm like, I was like, fuck this shit. I dropped my bag and I ran straight into the cane field, right? And I'm running into the cane field and I'm like, I'm hearing the fucking bushes like moving behind me. So they're coming in for me. They're coming to beat me. And halfway through the cane field, all I hear is I'm like shitting on myself. Like, I'm to the point like, yo, what the fuck? I'm looking at my pants now. I'm in the middle of the cane field.
Bro, I thought you were gonna say a horse.
No, shit. I shit down myself. And I'm like, I'm in the bushes like this now. I'm stooping down in the bush like this. And I'm looking from side to side and I'm like, I'm hearing the bushes shivering. Not seeing anybody. I can't make this shit up. I pull my pants down and I take off my underwear. I'm like, I gotta wipe you. I gotta get on the bus to get home, right? So I'm in the bushes naked now. And it was the last pair. Now take into consideration, back in the day, the best cartoon on TV at the time was Power Rangers. I had on some Power Rangers underwear, and I took those white Power Rangers drawers off, wiped down my legs, took some
This is not
off,
a real story.
wiped off, put back on my pants, buckle it up. There's a little drip on the side. And I get into, I'm gonna call some names. Just to show you guys that I'm not fucking around. I get onto the bus and there's one guy in the back of the bus. All the other seats are full. He was in my classroom. He's like, yo, did they catch you, yo? I'm like, no. I was like, yo, but I gotta tell you something, but you can't tell anybody. He's like, what? His name was Brent Andrews. I'm like, yo, I shit down myself, bro. I'm like, yo, you. And he starts laughing. He's like, yo, in the bus. He's like, yo, dog, he shit himself down, yo. No. Everybody turns around. My pants is wet. And they're laughing. I don't know what I ate the day before. Or if I was scared or whatever. But my pants was so...
Just pure fear.
And after that day, I became a demon. Like, I went to school and nobody else can fuck with me in the school. Like, I'm dead ass. I went to school on some demon shit. I'm like, yo, I'm from Pleasantville, yo. Nobody ain't fucking with me. Like, I'm coming in this shit. Like, you fucking hit me, you're gonna tear this whole school up. And I just lived that way after that.
Just took you to shit your pants to realize that.
Yeah, I shit myself to realize that, hey, listen, what the fuck were you running for? Because after that, I was always like, yo, if you touch me, this whole school is gonna get tear up because I'm bringing the whole village is gonna come here and we're gonna raise the school up and flip it over. And that was my mentality since then until, you know, like I had a dean in the school named Mr. Brown at the time. He thought I was getting into too much trouble and he called my dad and said, hey, your son is gonna die. And my dad was like, okay, I'm gonna send him. And that was it.
So nonchalant.
He's like, yo, your son is... I got into some... I can't talk about some of the shit now, but I got into some crazy shit to the point where...
Literally crazy
if I was in Trinidad, if I never came to Canada, I would have been dead, you know.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Why don't we change it to like worst dookie stories ever?
Hey, how you guys to share? Okay, so are you guys willing to share something now that you've never told anybody?
Okay, well, you can post that, dude. That was a lot.
And they were white drawers too, so there was no
like,
hiding anything.
Did you leave them in the field?
Oh, you just kept
giving it.
Check
them in the field.
Yeah.
They process the sugar cane there, and then they ship it out to places like Canada and the US.
Oh.
So somebody out
your
here
shit.
had shit.
So we're not joking about
Enjoy your
this.
fucking shit.
Dead ass, I swear on God, this shit happened.
Damn.
So nobody's willing to share anything.
But how are we supposed to top
question
that?
that's like hard is like tell something that you haven't told anyone else. It's like I'm trying to think of some stuff that I haven't told anyone else. It's like, man, like that's hard.
I've told somebody everything.
Now I
Okay,
At some point.
give me a confession then.
Okay. Of what?
Anything that you think.
That's too broad.
Yeah.
Now I feel bad about laughing.
Why?
The whole thing, because I thought
Confession? Like,
I don't know. It just
Give me a
kept
life
going.
confession.
I can tell you a story of when I shit my pants.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Yes.
So I was in Nepal and we're working on like this water irrigation system that we're helping build. And one of our tasks was to lift 100 pounds of cement. All the women can carry it on their neck and like their head, and they walk up these mountains in flip-flops.
Yeah.
It's nothing. It's insane. So one of my good friends goes before me. He's like this big guy, pretty strong, pretty athletic. Lifts it up, doesn't make it to the top. He just goes back down, can't lift it. I'm next. Okay, I'm like, I gotta show up everyone here. I do it. I start walking up. It's really hard. It's like past the point of physical, it's mental now. I can't take it anymore. All of a sudden, I'm shitting my pants. I'm shitting and walking.
So you were walking with it and it was just like.
And my body just didn't know how to handle it anymore. So past the point of like physical strength.
I don't know what else to do. So I'm shit.
And then I was like, all right.
Poor girl.
Yeah.
So you made it all the way to the
But
top with a
into the
diaper.
top
Well, there you go.
with
There you go.
heavier pants.
With heavier pants.
Yeah, you got extra work in.
Yeah, exactly.
You got the weight.
It shows now. You look gorgeous.
So nobody else have anything to say?
I can't think of anything that's like actually something I haven't told anybody ever.
I've never shit my pants, but I've pissed my pants before.
Everybody's pissed their pants.
I think I've done both.
Valid.
Okay, this is the last question for this segment of it. I would like you guys. This everybody has to have one of these, and I'll start with you, Malawi. I would like you guys to go into detail of a personal transformation you've been through.
I'm gonna need a second.
Should I go first?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I've had all my fun in my life. I've done everything, you know. I've been there. I've been to the parties. I've done the drugs. It's been a while, and I think growing from that was the greatest experience. And I think I'd attribute every growth in my life to the gym. Like, if it wasn't for the gym, I would be back, like, fucking doing the same shit I was before. Like, before the gym, like, I moved from Thompson to Winnipeg, and I had a goal of changing myself. I had everything I wanted. I had everything I wanted in Thompson. But, I think going to the gym helped me change everything from all lifestyle. I ended up getting my grade 12 adult education. I got my whole business administration degree from University of Winnipeg. I'm in the Navy now. You know, I attribute every success in my life to physical fitness. Physical fitness is a direct link to mental health. And I believe that, like, the gym is my ultimate complete turnaround.
Okay. Nice. Anybody else want to share?
I actually got one.
Mm-hmm.
So, growing up, it was pretty much sheltered, not by choice, but just the fact that I was born in Brooklyn, and then I guess a year after my life, my parents decided. Shout out to the Bronx. But yeah, so just growing up, my parents did the best they could just to give me the best chance in life possible. So it also had to move from the very place that my parents grew up, known, had friends, and all that. So we move around state to state, country to country. Like, not, this is just between US and Canada. So it came to a point where my dad was the only one working at the time, so my mom, she was the one providing for me and my sisters. So it came to a point where literally when so-and-so disaster happens and then we end up bankrupt. So we had a house at the time and then we couldn't keep it anymore. So we came to a decision just like, do we want to just move to another state knowing that the problem might not fix itself, or do we want to go try a different country, see what it's like on the other side? And then it was a group vote, which was interesting since my mom and dad were the only real adults, but me being like 9 and then my other 2 sisters were like 8 and 6, we actually had a say in the vote. So we all voted just like, let's go to a different country. So we went to Canada. We moved to Etobicoke when I was like 10, and we're just like shooting the shit. We got on something called the streetcar, just going around town. We tried out their poutine. I'm just like, yo, this is good shit. But what was changing for me was the culture, because in the States down south, it's just, I don't want to assume anything because I haven't been in the States for a while, but it's just black and white, and then every other little thing, maybe Mexican, maybe Asian, but it was just black and white. And then just growing up, not hating on my own culture, but it's just like how they grew up, they always had their small little opinions of what the races were like. Learning about other cultures was not really something in the school that I went to was a thing. Because if it was always about history, how the British took over and blah, blah, blah.
Nothing about the States or Canada?
Well, just Georgia, for example. I was in Dunwoody, and it just seemed black and white. So I didn't want to really fall into that category, just like, you're black, you act like this. I wanted to have my own say-so by not only learning from my history, knowing where I came from, but having a say-so about how I go about life, what are my opinions and such. So coming to Toronto, where all the cultures came together, was the most life-changing experience. Like, in a way, I guess in geeky terms, it felt like a convention. It's like you go to a comic convention, you see all your favorite characters, some who voice act, some who act. You get their signatures and ask a whole bunch of stupid questions. But it was the fact that no matter what you're into or just what you watch, nobody judged you for it. So that's what I felt like coming to Toronto specifically did for me to just grow as a person, because I began to just learn about myself, have like a whole bunch of just likes and dislikes that you would normally think, just, I'm a black girl, we normally don't like this, or why would you like this, knowing it's for like certain races. So coming to Canada was a way I can express myself, take in all the cultures without having to feel like, oh, you came from America, obviously you're gonna misjudge it or just kind of like make it seem like you're going against their culture or racism. Like, no, I was just really curious and optimistic just to learn about whatever culture there was, traditions and all that. So it's like, for me, Toronto is like the place where I really felt I found a home for the first time, considering I was born in Brooklyn or born in Georgia. So Toronto is actually the first home that I've ever had in my life.
How'd you end up in Victoria?
Victoria, that was just based on the training that I had to do. But if I had the chance, I would go back to Toronto in a heartbeat. And then people say their talk like, you know, there's always the news talking about like the next shootings or the next protests. But that's all a garden, because people can throw dirt on your name. They can give you your flowers. It's how you make your garden that shapes who you are. Mm-hmm. So Toronto is my garden, and it internalizes in my soul, in my feelings, and then just all the choices that I made was because Toronto gave me the freedom to not only be myself based on my race, my history, but knowing that I can still participate and explore cultures just for the sake of expanding your knowledge and then just learning about new people.
And you don't think that you have nostalgia on specifically Toronto and not the rest of Canada? Like you're in love with Toronto because it gave you that opportunities because you just moved there and it, you know, does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, so I see where you're coming from. Like we could have moved anywhere else, like Calgary,
Yeah, and you
man, like
the same
Quebec.
way.
But
Yeah.
it's just because I've been to Quebec, I've been to Halifax, Victoria. I've been here for like 4 years.
Who lives in Toronto? Just your family, right?
Yeah, just my
Just
family.
your family.
But yeah,
I'm coming from the same perspective that you are. Like I'm relating so much. I'm originally from Manitoba, but I cannot stay still for a damn minute. Like I lived in Toronto, I lived in Ottawa, I'm in Alberta. I'm like now I'm here, but my heart belongs to Manitoba because of my siblings, my nieces, my nephews. You know, like I don't know what I'm running away from. I don't think I'm running away from anything, but where your heart belongs is, I feel like, where your heart should start, and you can bring the money to travel with the people that you love afterwards.
Yeah, just Toronto was the one place that opened my eyes to anything and everything. And then just me, because my deepest fear is missing out. Because again, being sheltered, you don't really have the experiences that typical teenagers would go through. Like,
I'm telling you,
boyfriend, I didn't have that until I was like 19, 20. Or just going out with friends, that was never really a thing for me. It was always just me and my sisters, sometimes my brother. They were like really the only friends and family that I had. Because every time we moved, I didn't really have time to like establish a bond that would transcend when I moved to a different school, a different area. So when I stuck around Toronto, I made bonds that would last lifetimes. Like people that I talked to in grade 5, I still know them. And it's crazy because I try and keep the relationships in the States, but it's kind of hard to, knowing that you got different perspectives and then just...
Is it 'cause like you're traveling, you're somewhere else?
Yeah, and then... Because you're just known to be the traveler. You're never sticking in one place, so...
But nobody would ever... If you go back to Toronto, your sisters or your family would never be like, why are you here? You know?
They never would, because...
You know, I think it's just in, like, how you're wired of, like, I need to travel because I need to...
Oh yeah, like,
you know,
I'm definitely willing to explore the world, but I don't think I would have the...
At this time of what you're feeling right now, I feel as if it's time to, like, just, like, I want to say replant, but I don't think that's a word. But I like time to give to your families right now, because we all know what's going on in the world right now. I'm not speaking of anything that's, like, happening, but... Canada is definitely, it's a risk factor at this time. So if you have a chance to go back to your family, I would do it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's something that
100%.
I'm doing right now. Like I'm going right back to my family. I'm still gonna work. We never know what's gonna happen in the future, but I feel like it's the energy in the earth right now that's telling everyone, and not even you. I've had a lot of conversations with my other friends who are scattered all over Canada, and they tell me I want to go back to my family because everyone's scared of what's going on in the earth right now.
Anybody else?
I have one too, but you can go first.
No, you go.
Okay, I love talking about this. Like when I get to the end, it makes me so happy. But like the beginning part, I'll like try to make it as short as I can. Like when you grow up in this like world and like you have like your parents and whatever, it's really hard in this day and age, like say our generation, like the median age of who's sitting here, to like bring up a child who doesn't have a bias from media, who doesn't have a bias from like growing up like based off of like things that influence them and you know all the other stuff or whatever. So like growing up, like me, I was like influenced by all this stuff. Like partying looks fun because it's in the movie with Zac Efron, yay, you know, like Justin Bieber has it in his music video. So like I get influenced and tempered. So like at a certain age, like when I became 16, 17, I started partying, I started going out, started doing my thing, whatever. And at the time I thought it was fun. Looking back and reflecting now, it was not good for me. I would never like want to be like that again.
Were your parents okay with that?
No. definitely not. My parents cared about me a lot, and they actually looked at it with saddened eyes, which made me even more like, Mom, like, why are you telling me what to do, you know? Like, I'm a stubborn, innocent child who was polluted by the world. Like, that's how I viewed it.
Interesting.
That's how I view it now, but, like, back then, like, I didn't view it like that. I was like, my parents are trying to control me. They actually just loved me, and I didn't understand that. So, like, growing up, like, I got to a point where I was just, like, doing it and thinking it was good for me, and, like, I was, like, so blinded by, like, drinking or, like, smoking all the time, or, like, you know, just, like, doing things that made me feel good, hang out with friends that, like, influenced me in different ways that, like, my parents would never want me to be influenced. So, we're talking about, like, transforming, right? Like, what point in your life, like, you transform the most? So, eventually, like, that took a toll on my body. Drinking and smoking, and, like, there's so many things in the world that cause cancer now. Your phone, what you eat, you know,
When did
all
you
that.
stop this mindset?
I get there,
She's
but
getting there.
I got diagnosed with cancer in 2020. I got diagnosed with thyroid cancer. So I have a scar here. Got my left thyroid removed. And during that year that I had cancer, I immediately, I found out, I didn't tell anybody. I didn't want to tell anyone until I knew it was going to be taken care of. So I started working out, I started eating right, I started talking to, like, natural doctors and all that stuff, and just doing all the good stuff to, like, get to the point where I can transform, right? And I had the surgery, and a year later, I was completely cancer-free. The doctors told me I was cancer-free. So, like, pivotal moment, like, I look back and reflect the second after I had the surgery, and I was like, wow, look at how much I've changed. Look at how much I've done all this. The second I found out I didn't have cancer anymore, it was like, party, yeah, I don't have cancer. I'm right back on the bully. Like, it just, like, what does it take for, like, someone that's so influenced by the media, that's so influenced by everything to, like, change? That didn't do anything. I'm still, like, doing the same thing. I'm still, like, thinking the same way. I'm just, like, I'm grateful I don't have it anymore. But, like, did my mind shift? Did, like, what my desires and my heart, like, shift at all? No, I still want to go out and, like, back then I probably would have said something like, I want to shake my ass on a yacht. I don't want to do that anymore. So what took me there? Let me just say, I found God, bro. I found God, and amen. Like, it was like, it wasn't even, it was like he seeked me. It was crazy. It was like, it's a blessing to know God, and, like, I believe that I got there because he graciously let me see who he was. And, like, then, when I got to that point where I was like, okay, God is real. I've never in my life, I always believed in God, but it was never, like, weighted in my chest. I didn't understand it fully. Started reading the Bible, started getting into that, and let me tell you, nothing. Cancer, facing death, like, literally someone being like, okay, you might not come out of the surgery, let me sign this thing just to, you know, if you have to get a blood transfusion. That didn't do anything. Right back to vaping, like, a year after being clean off of it, just because I didn't have it anymore. That didn't do anything. So, for me, like, looking death in the eye can't make me change. What can God do? God transformed my life like no other. I wouldn't say the things I used to say. I wouldn't move the way I don't move anymore. I wouldn't treat people the way I would have treated people in the past anymore, and it's all because of God. It's not credit to myself. The person I am today is because of God, and it's so blessed, dude. It's like, I'm so blessed to have it in my family too. Like, they all knew about that. I wasn't there yet, but now I am, and I think it's all because of God, and I think there's always room for growth, but, like, the only thing in my life that I think has transformed me in, like, a positive, awesome way in all angles is God, Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior.
Bless her
Yes.
soul. Bless all of our souls. Everyone has been through so much. Bless our souls.
Yes.
Yeah, amen.
Yes.
No more stories to share?
Amen. I mean, I have a story to share. I have a question, actually, for you.
Yeah.
For when you were going through your, like, you don't want to tell anybody about it when you went through your cancer thing. Who did you tell?
Well, honestly, like, I didn't tell anybody until I found out that I knew I was gonna come out of it.
When did you?
And then the first person I told was, I think, my stepdad, just because he was easier to tell. And then the second person I told was my dad, and it was honestly the most heartbreaking thing was to see, he, like, out of everyone I told, he was the one that, like, reacted.
Yeah,
like,
it is
I was, like, my
heartbreaking.
heart dropped for him, it wasn't even for me. I was like, man, like, it becomes reality when you tell people, you know. Some people, like, have problems in their relationships, not even, like, to do with what I was talking about, like, a personal relationship with a boyfriend or a girlfriend. And some people, if it's so bad, they will not say anything to anyone. That's how you know it's bad, when you're keeping it to yourself in your chest, because, like, that, you know, it's like when you don't tell anyone, that's when you know it's a real burden. It's the stuff that's kept in the dark, but you gotta bring it to light, because otherwise, you know, no one's gonna be able to help you, and, like, everyone's here to help each other.
I feel you on that. I can relate to you on that. There's something that I want to tell you, but like I want to do it off camera.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
But I can relate to you 100%.
Yeah.
Any more things for this one?
Thank you for telling us that.
No? All right, I'm going to have, because we're kind of short on time, I'm going to ask one more question and we'll wrap it up for the night. A strong lesson that you all have learned from a failed relationship.
Simply put, love is not always enough. Real shit. Somebody can love you to the max, you can love them to the max, but at the end of the day, if you're not compatible, if your views don't align with each other, it's not enough. Bottom line. Because there's some things that you might compromise on, but there's some things that you can't compromise on because of your own values, your own beliefs, whatever. So at the end of the day, somebody can love you to the fucking bits of your bones. Real shit. But like if you can't agree on certain values, it doesn't matter because you're never going to work out. And that is something that I've learned. And that's not just with boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever. That's with family too. Like if I feel a type of way to my core and say my sister doesn't agree with me, at the end of the day, I know that we're never going to see eye to eye. I love my sister. This is not theoretical, actually. It's not theoretical. There's some issues, but like at the end of the day, I love my sister, but I don't agree with her. And at the end of the day, if we can't come to compromise on this one thing, then I know that we're never going to see eye to eye, and we're never going to be able to have a proper, healthy relationship without resentment or contempt towards each other. So really, at the end of the day, to me, you can love somebody more than anything in the world, but it's not always enough, and that's bottom line.
Okay.
I have two.
I have one. It's a quick one. Can you replay the question?
Yeah, so a strong lesson you've learned from a failed relationship.
You're only gonna cook as much as the other person's gonna cook. If she got breakfast, I got dinner. And if she has dinner, I got breakfast. That's all I gotta say about it.
What have you learned from a failed relationship, though?
That's what I've learned, cause literally, I'm embarrassed to say, but Alyssa, this girl would cook me fucking tacina and fucking like a bunch of Asian breakfast food every single morning. She cooked me lunch. She cooked me dinner. So what I've learned.
You didn't cook enough for her.
No, I can only do breakfast.
What is the lesson?
To cook breakfast, I don't know.
Bottom line, cook your homie breakfast. Otherwise, you're canceled, and that's the end of the discussion. Cook breakfast or else.
I'm gonna hold you that tomorrow.
Oh my god.
Right, let's go get some bacon. I'll cook you breakfast.
Brian, what's yours?
So the first one is if you're with your partner, and you're having a disagreement, it's never you two against each other, it's you two against the problem. Like, that's the biggest thing, your united front and stuff like that. And if you guys can't find common ground on a disagreement within some sort of problem or argument, it's okay to agree to disagree. There are a lot of people out there that can't understand that two people have two polarized opinions on something, and like values are completely different, but when it comes to certain situational things like the proper way to put your fucking socks in the drawer, I'm like, it's okay to disagree on some things, and sometimes you just have to learn how to let it go. So yeah, those are my two things. My two lessons.
I also got one. Or you can go first.
Go for it.
Are you sure? So my biggest thing is don't compromise too much to the point where the dreams that you once had are now becoming their dreams. And I'm not saying like this isn't toxic or in any way possible. It's just when I care about someone, I would literally just put down anything that I had just to see them smile. But at the same time, I'm also in charge of my happiness. So I want to be able to reach my goals, go where I'm going to. So if the dreams don't align, it's kind of hard just to manage it too. So if there comes a point in time when the split in the path becomes just too separate, you got to acknowledge the fact that you guys are going separate ways. It's that scenario where it's like you met the right person, but at the wrong time. So if you have that dream, you can't really give it up for anyone else, no matter how much you care for them, because you'll always respect the time and the lessons that you learned with them.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, you want to live your life. And if you don't follow your dreams, knowing that relationship that you care about is affecting it, you got to do what you feel is right and just go with what your gut tells you.
Okay.
Lessons I learned from failed relationships. I gotta say, lessons I sadly had to learn is when to cut it off, because I've let them run on for way too far long of getting played on the same games. You gotta learn when to cut things off. You can't just let a bad thing keep running, and that's a sad lesson I had to learn over and over and over again. Learn to know when to cut it off.
Malawi?
I would say don't fall in love with someone's potentials, and learn to make peace with closure. Sometimes you don't get closure.
Yeah, that's also another thing, because
Valid point.
there was some points in life where I would never have the proper closure, and then going to that person, it just never felt like the right ending. So at the end of the day, it's just like I had to take space to myself and make my own closure in order for me to move on. Because this quote that my dad would tell me is like, at the end of the day, everything in life, you'll love it, you'll hate it, but you'll appreciate it. So every lesson that I've loved, I've hated, I've come to appreciate in the end. The talks that we would have, the arguments that we would go through.
You know,
but at
my
the
dad
end of the
said to
day,
me-
it's like you appreciate it all because it gets you to where you are now. So I'm not going to take that for granted. There are still things that I've learned, even though they hurt me, that I still carry with me because it still resonates with what the path I'm going on. So love, hate, appreciate, it's all a lesson.
And it's never goodbye. It's always see you later.
It's a good one. I'm gonna have to put that on. Quote unquote. I would say for me, I think the biggest lesson that I've learned from a failed relationship is you can live with somebody for years and still not know who they are.
Oh my god.
Yes. Yes.
I disagree with every single one of, only because is like, I only date girls, and I'm always gonna be best friends with my exes, which are girls. And girls, all we want to do is like do makeup. We want to fucking go out. We want to do
That's
girly things, you know.
That's generalized.
But like with same thing with guys though. I have, okay, hold on. I have gay friends too.
No, you said.
I have gay
Okay,
friends
go ahead.
who want to do makeup, who want to like get into like the gay vibes, but everyone else has so much social anxiety about it that they don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you, I haven't even met you, so I can't even.
No, but all I'm saying is like I've lived with somebody for years, and you think you know them, but there's things that people hide until they're ready to reveal it. So all I'm saying is you could live with somebody for years and still not know who that person is.
Or the new experiences that they go through, and then sometimes it just changes their mindset completely to the point where it's like, okay, this is how you're adapting to this.
So
Now I gotta relearn everything.
My best friend, she's one of like, she owns her own business now. She's all about lashing. She's straight as hell. She's native too. We've been best friends since I was in university, and then it got to that point of she thought I was in love with her, or like I was attracted to her at some points, you know, because I'm such a cuddly person. I'm such a kissy person. I'm very flirty with everybody that I'm with. And then there's one time that she asked me if I was gay, and I asked her if she was gay because I was nervous at that time. And I was dating this other girl who was maybe like 8 years older than me. Mm-hmm. And I was just going with the flow, you know? And it's something that I liked at the time. And yeah, and now my girlfriend now, she's one of my bestest friends. She owns a business. She has her own merch now. She's literally gonna be a fucking millionaire by the time we're manifesting this.
I know the whole thing of if you can live with a person and not know who they are while you're living with them. I think that's true. You never know, like, you can definitely hide as you are as a person. So, gotta be careful out there, people. Gotta be good judge of character, or else you'll end up fucked.
Any more life lessons before we wrap it up?
What was the question again?
A strong lesson that you've learned from a failed relationship.
I went way off.
I think a strong lesson that I've learned from relationships is that, like, whenever I would get out of one, I've only been in like 2 serious relationships and like maybe 3 if you count like a not serious one. Let's let Warhorn get through here.
Sorry, I'm trying.
I'm
He's not
helping.
walking.
Walk Warhorn.
Alright, my bad. Go ahead.
It's like when I would like end a relationship when I was kind of more immature, to get over it, I would like kind of pick apart or like help me get over it. Like it's not like we ended on bad terms, but like in my head I would be like, oh, they did this, this, and this, and this, so that's why I shouldn't have been with them, and that's why it didn't work out, and that would give me closure. So it was almost like I was just like picking them apart and being like this, and this, so like we didn't work out. But now like I can like look back in a relationship and be like, oh, but like I did this, and like I was like that, and I moved that way, and like maybe that's why it didn't work out too. And it's like self-accountability. Because I think I lacked that in a lot of areas of my life, my whole life, just because of the way that, like, my brain has been brought up, I guess, is just the way I think. But, like, these days, like, I think accountability from like, past relationships is something that, like, I can really reflect on and, like, grow from. In my friendships, too. I
see that, and I'm proud of you,
yeah.
bro. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
For real. Real shit.
Oh, Andy, you want to put something in this?
Yeah, I came back in to say, don't try and fix someone who's broken. Just saying. That was my end, bro. Straight up.
Don't save her. She don't want to be
Save, don't save her. As J. Cole said, bro. Straight up.
Before we wrap it up, I just want to thank you guys again for coming through and making episode 3 of Heartless Chat with me.
Can we...
I know the ops mad, I'm getting money and I'm flexing.